What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. This right here, as you all know, is the podcast where we dive into the deep, dark, murky waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the number one scumbag, Rex Ruger. That's REXXX, because I said so. You might also know me as the King of Sleaze, a.k.a. the Hair Metal High Priest, and most importantly, of course, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. Take a look, folks. Was just on my phone with the lawyers a little while ago, and DNA testing almost conclusive. And we will prove once and for all that you are looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked a few grams. I got a million fans. I'm your ice cream man, Mr. Wop Bop Loo Bop Wop Bam Bam Shazam. Hot damn. Oh, I am feeling good. And play a quick game of Find Rex's Bad Side. Doesn't exist. Everybody in the house looking good, including my beautiful audience. You know how I gets it done. Right there, kids. Coming to you, as always, from the Lavender Lounge of Love. Joined, as always, by the great Keith Hernandez Puppet, who I couldn't do this without, bringing you the No Frills podcast. No frills. But you do get thrills, and that's looking at the face of a rock star, the second greatest frontman to ever do it. And if you're watching this right now, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and follow us over on Facebook. Pod Scum is on Facebook. Got to be where the cool kids are. You got to have one nowadays. Just like you got to have a cool band, which I do. Glam metal, sleaze, powerhouse, love sword. Still looking for great players, by the way. Excuse me. Better than great. Virtuoso level players. Have to see if my guest could even make the cut. He's here now. Let's get into it and chop it up with him on Pod Scum. I am excited. This is going to be a brutal one. I hope. Let's get him in here. Let's get him in here. All right.
Checking, testing.
Checking. I can hear you. Just can't see you. You just got to. There he is.
Hey, all right, brother. What's cooking?
How you doing, man?
Doing just fine. How are you?
I don't want to screw up the last name, but I'm going to try it anyway. Ivan GUJIC.
GUJIC.
Oh, you went fancy on me there. It tripped me up, man. Okay, how about just MEATHOOK? I like MEATHOOK.
There we go.
Yeah, that works for me, man. From the amazing Blood Red Throne, man. And I just turned one of my friends onto Imperial Congregation. But the whole catalog is fucking brutal, right? I mean, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, you guys have been doing it a long time, man. And you've been in the band for how long?
Since 2009.
Yeah. And extreme metal music. Talk to me about, like, what you remember being the first act or song or album that really resonated with you, that got you really inspired to want to do specifically heavy music.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, of course, all of us started out with classic bands like Metallica,
right,
Pantera, Slayer, and all that stuff, But after a while, Sepultura came into my life.
Yeah.
And after that, it was Cannibal Corpse, of course.
Yep.
And from that point, we should just started to get heavier and heavier and heavier,
Yeah.
More extreme and stuff like that. And I mean, you got this fantastic band, I picked the tour. I'm a huge motherfucking fan of those guys. Grindcore, and we're talking technical death metal and like brutal death grind and all that shit. It's like, as long as it's fucking extreme, fast, and fucking ball breakage, I'm there, brother.
And what was your upbringing like? Did you have aspirations to do anything else? How early on did you get a guitar in your hands and get into music?
Well, I was man. I think I was like 15 or 16 years old. The year was 2000. I remember that.
Yeah.
And bought my first electric guitar, cheap motherfucker. You know how it is. Practicing, learning a lot of different stuff, from Metallica and stuff like that. I was a diehard Metallica fan. Still am. I love those guys. And yeah, I was like 15, 16. So yeah.
I hate seeing Metallica get shit on. Don't you feel like they're one of those bands that just, a friend of mine, I think, said it best the other day when I was talking to him, or he made a comment on social media that, say what you want about the different directions Metallica has gone in, but when they leave the genre or they hang it up or they retire, that's a big void left in the metal world, though. It really is. Yeah. You don't just replace a Metallica,
I mean, what can I say, brother? Don't shit what you eat,
Right. And I also see that, much like me, you were sporting a CFH. I did not. Yes. So obviously, Pantera is a band that means a lot to you. And now, obviously, and they mean a lot to me too. Obviously, they're out there doing their thing right now. When this whole Pantera reunion or tribute or whatever the public wants to call it, when this thing was first announced, did you like the idea? Did you embrace the idea of them going out and doing this as a fan?
The only thing that bothered me a little bit, it was they called it Pantera.
Yeah.
It was strange to see that badass logo. You're like, Pantera. This is not Pantera. This is Pantera Tribute.
Yes.
The best fucking tribute band in the whole goddamn world.
Yes.
Pantera Tribute. Call it tribute, and all my fucking hands are down. So, but me personally, I was like, I ain't that kind of guy who thinks negative shit, I'm always into good times, and I saw Pantera Tribute live, Tons of Rock in Norway this Friday. So it was amazing, and for me it was like, all right, we're gonna watch people that we're huge fans of. Got Zach Wild, he's one of my favorite guitar players,
Sure.
Top 5. Philip Anselmo, he's a god, still a goddamn pitbull, Rex and Tony Benante, everybody's there. I got tons of friends around me. We're listening to great fucking music, and it's just good fucking times, man. It's all love,
And I also saw on your on your page there that you had made it out to Dimebag's grave.
Yes, sir.
And you were taking some pictures there. As a guitar player, I don't play an instrument, but you, as a guitar player, what was it about Dime's playing that made him so special?
I'm a huge blues fan.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, before I started listening to heavy music, I was into blues. I mean, I remember watch action movies and shit like that, it was like they had some blues tunes and shit, I was like, what is that fucking music,
Yeah.
And after a while, that is blues, slave music, if you may,
Yeah.
So after a while, heavy metal came into my life, and when it comes to Dime, he's got that, I mean, nobody plays like him, he's got that special something that even to this day, personally, for me, I can't fucking explain it. As the guy, and he's got that blues tone, and he's got that something bad fucking ass about his style.
He does. Yeah. I get that. And obviously, what happened to him on stage, obviously, just one of those tragedies that just you can't really explain. Then ultimately, a few years down the road, Vinnie Paul passes. What do you think the legacy is, though? Like, as two Pantera fans sitting here talking, though, the Pantera legacy, though, like, what does it mean, like, when you hear the name Pantera? I mean, obviously, like, you grew up with them. I grew up with them. What do you think their legacy is? Because I feel like it could have been so much more. They did kind of tail off there at the end when the brothers and Phil kind of had their falling out or whatever you want to call it. But still, there's still a lot of great music there. There's still a solid 14, 15-year career there of some phenomenal albums.
Yeah. When it comes to Pantera and my life, I would say the true religion, brother.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
true religion. Goddamn, I'm getting goosebumps. Yeah. For me, the legacy of Pantera, they changed my life totally.
Yeah.
I come from a war-ravaged country. I came as a refugee to Norway. I've been through a lot of fucking shit. Hard times, you know how it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
those guys definitely made me a stronger person, more confident, and I mean, it's just the true religion,
Yeah. Dime is one of those kind of guys that even when you never, even if, despite whether the fact you've met him or not, when you see him in videos, he just comes across as that guy that you feel like you've always known.
Exactly.
Like an old friend. He just, that kind of guy that you could just, I don't think he ever had that air of pretentiousness about him that he was a big star. And plus, you could also make the claim that, throughout the 90s, it was a very dark period for metal, that Pantera might have been the band that really kept heavy metal flying around that time.
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely, brother.
I mean,
definitely. And not only that, I mean, being a band, being a musician, who's inspired so many other guitar players and musicians and music styles and this and that shit. I mean, that's total respect, brother. I mean, he Dimebag Darrell as a guitar player and Vinnie Paul as a drummer and shit like that. I mean, they definitely, what can I say? I wouldn't say that they invented something new, but they definitely what's it called when you
refined it,
refined it, and
perfected it. Yeah.
I mean, they wrote something that's mind-blowingly new and fresh and I mean, revolutionary also.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Having that on your resume, that's fucking ball breakage,
Yeah. Now, you guys just put out a single, Blood Red Throne, and I'll probably fuck this up, Latrodectus. I think I got that right. Yeah. But the last full-length album was, I mentioned Imperial Congregation. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask, where are we with new Blood Red Throne music in terms of, whatever direction you guys go in, an EP, an LP? Are we close to getting like, an album?
Definitely. We got a lot of fucking work to do and not a lot of time.
Right.
So, I mean, our balls are like this, so
in the proverbial vice
and stuff like that, but I ain't gonna brag too much, brother. But the new material is I mean, what can I say? We've been writing music for so fucking long, and the know-how is more intelligent, and when it comes to writing music and stuff like that, you got a lot of experience and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the brain gets bigger, the songs get better and shit like that, so when I talk to Big Boss Daniel, dude, I'm really into getting into the core of the fucking music and stuff like that. One of my songs, we wrote that motherfucker down, and I listened to it a couple of times, and I was like, man, this ain't too good. This is fucking boring shit. I mean, riffs are good, but I need to do something
hard on yourself.
Yeah, we went back to the studio, his home studio, and we were like, all right, we need to do something different. We need to like grind that motherfucker down, and so it's the most fucking violent songs on the goddamn album, man. Really satisfied. So hell yeah.
As a band, when everything went fucking haywire a couple years ago with COVID, and the plug was pulled on live shows, and it really set the world upside down for a little while. You obviously doing what you do greatly affected. what was the impact that COVID had on you and or the band? You know, did it derail a lot of shit you guys had planned? You know, did it throw a wrench into a lot of shit?
Oh, the well, speaking of which, during COVID, it was I believe it was right before COVID. You know, our bass guitar player he sort of quit, and there was a rumor going around that nobody wanted Blood Red Throne. That Blood Red Throne, nobody was interested in us. No festivals, no booking agents, jack shit. And then the COVID came, and we were like, I was talking to Big Boss Daniel, you know, so he was like, "What the fuck is going on?" You know, I mean, we're on the ground and we're getting our fucking ribs stomped in.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in my car while we were talking after the conversation. You know, I was listening to Hatebreed and Born to Bleed, Fighting to Succeed, Built to Endure What This World Throws on Me. I'm getting goosebumps right now, man.
Yeah.
And, so I was like, no matter how hard it is, keep on grinding on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And
you have to.
like a year later or something like that, we nailed a contract with Nuclear Blast. So
Congratulations.
We were like, thank you. And we just kept fucking rolling. I mean, it was 1 year, no shows, nothing. But we didn't quit. You know, we wrote new material. We had a lot of different conversations and shit like that, and plans. And we nailed a kick fucking ass bass player, Stian Gunderson. He's got a lot of names: Clammy Hackett, Gone Down Your Son, and shit like that. You know, so one of the best. You know, so. But it's been really motherfucking rough. But what can I say? I would say that the hard times make us what the fuck we are, especially in Blood Red Throne, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how many floors I've slept on. You know, you just like wake up, throw up, keep on fucking grinding. You know, so hell yeah.
And when you guys go out on the road and tour now, you know, obviously as we get older in life, you know, the narrative might change. You know, you got a significant other or kids or a day job that keeps you, you know, not able to venture off for too long. You know, is there a comfortable itinerary that works for you guys as a band? You know, when you guys are going to go out and tour, you know, is there like a set amount of time that you guys as a band like to go away for, or that you can go away for?
Well, I would say 2 weeks on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all right. You know, we like those 2 weeks, and then you can come back home and shit like that, because Daniel, he just I mean, his son is goddamn he's a toddler and a brand new dad, you know. So he has a son now, probably that too. So and Bolt, he is well, this month his woman is about to give birth. So there are, of course,
Busy guys.
some difficulties, and Freddie too. You know, he's got a kid and stuff like that, and the whole shebang. You know, but what can I say? You know, personally, for me, you know, I don't give a fuck. You know, everybody's got a job and stuff like that, but when I leave, I lock the door and I don't even look back, brother. You know, it's I know the reason I was born is to be a goddamn guitar man, you know.
Yeah.
So that is my purpose in life. and I just fucking keep on trucking, keep on rolling. And I mean, if my work says, this ain't working, fuck off, man. I'm fucking a goddamn guitar player, So and as I say to people, they ask me, you're a full-time musician. Fucking A, I'm a full-time musician. I even practice when I'm working. Well, I mean, I'm a machine technician and stuff like that. So I got some drumsticks, at work. I'm a drummer too, So when the machine is doing its job, I'm fucking practicing and writing mails and doing a lot of stuff when it comes to music. So it's really important when you realize that you're being born for a goddamn reason.
Yeah.
Do that all the fucking time. Never stop, and just dedicate your whole life to that.
And when you're going to create something, either individually or with the band, like what is your individual creative process like in terms of like, are you somebody that when it comes to guitar parts or lyrics for ideas, that you're jotting down and recording things throughout the day? Or are you one of these guys that kind of treats it like a job? Like I talk to guys on here who are like, from 12 to 5 or 12 to 6, I go into I go into a room and I write music or I create music. Some guys have that kind of discipline, I mean. Yeah.
Well, when it comes to my discipline, I'm really practicing. When it comes to practicing, there's a lot of discipline there.
Sure.
But as Dimebag would say, when it comes to writing music, me personally, I like to. It's all about the soul, brother.
Yeah.
When I pick up a guitar, and I don't think, I just let shit out. It's at that moment where my best riffs come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all about the soul, but practicing, a lot of discipline, definitely.
I'm really afraid to ask this next question, man, but where does a guy end up landing a nickname like Meathook? Maybe I don't want to know.
It's because of my penis, Meathook.
Okay, fair enough.
No, just fooling you. That's one of the reasons, But
if there's bodies buried somewhere, you don't have to disclose that. I was just asking the origin of the name. That's all. I mean, that's a pretty intense nickname. I was actually a little while ago. I had another interview scheduled, and it was with the singer for power metal band Jag Panzer. And their lead singer's nickname is Tyrant. I'm like, he's the Tyrant. You're the Meathook. I mean, a lot of intimidating nicknames being thrown at me today.
Yeah.
And I don't have one.
Do you remember the show with Will Smith, Fresh Prince in Bel-Air?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was watching that, and there was this badass bar they were visiting. And the name of that bar was Meathook.
Okay.
So I got it from a early age, So yeah.
Okay, so there were no violent crimes, there were no murders, there's no bodies on your record. This is not the result. This nickname is not the result of some violent acts that you pulled.
Not with a Meathook.
Not with a Meathook. Okay, fair enough. He didn't do it. If it's got to do with a Meathook, he didn't do it. If you're out on the road nowadays, as you progressed on in the music business, is it different now when you're out on the road, as the body gets older, do you have to make certain changes or do you feel as good as ever?
Well, my good sir, one strange thing. I mean, this Saturday, we were in Finland.
Yeah.
And I mean, I fucking one whole bottle of Jameson whiskey.
Yeah.
Drank the fucking, we were doing some hard drinking. I woke up in the bus next morning. I was a bit tired.
Yeah.
A bit tired, and I mean, it's different, because back in the day, I would drink, I wake up in the morning, I'm totally fucking hungover, I'm puking, headaches and shit like that. But nowadays, I'm just getting more and more rough, You know what they say? When you drink a lot and you wake up in the morning and you're not hungover, that's a big fucking sign that you're getting to be a goddamn alcoholic. Yeah. So I need to watch myself.
You're becoming a pro.
God damn. No, but when it comes to the road life, we got a lot of experience with everything, how to handle different rough situations and stuff like that. So I mean, as I said, brain gets bigger and you're learning a lot and stuff like that. So yeah.
Now,
Just
who are
getting
some
more and
other
more.
guys? Who would be some other examples of some guys, who, as a fan, from a fan standpoint, that you're a fan of in terms of their guitar playing?
Well, I'm a huge fan of, I said, Zach Wild.
Yep.
We get into heavy blues stuff, and when it comes to guitar solos, for example, I've always been huge fan of crazy guitar solos. When it comes to Kerry King, he's been
Yeah.
a huge influence to me. He's like speed, crazy, fucking insane shit,
Yeah.
and uh, Pat O'Brien, of course. I'm a huge fan of Dino Cazares
Yeah.
and Mick Thompson from Slipknot. He is one of those guitar players that also revolutionized the whole, what can I say, metal, and guitar stuff and stuff like that. So yeah.
And you mentioned earlier one of the first bands that really kind of got you jump started was Sepultura. What do you think it was? Because I'm a huge fan of them. Well, first of all, I'll ask you the question: did you remain a Sepultura fan after Max and Igor left the band, or do you like the earlier stuff?
Well, uh, what can I? Yeah. I would say I definitely continued being a fan, after that, because they got some killer fucking songs and good musicians and they're hitting hard. And
Yeah,
I mean, Barry Green is a vocalist, he's a badass vocalist.
agreed. Yep.
So I mean, it's quality metal music, so definitely, but when we're backtracking to their old albums, they were into so many different styles, and when it comes to roots, I would say it's sort of like beginning of new metal, give and take, so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, uh, definitely.
As a guitar player, what do you make of Max Cavalera, though? Completely lopping off those two bottom strings. He doesn't play with them.
Yeah. 4-string guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not running any solos and stuff like that, so if he doesn't need him, that's sort of a bit original,
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
So what's the point when a guy does something like that? Is it just to make the riffs heavier and just not even deal with those two bottom strings?
I believe it's more of having that control,
Yeah.
If you're not using those two strings, so they're not bothering you, so you can just focus on keeping it tight and stuff like that, so
Now you
yeah.
mentioned, you mentioned coming from a war-torn country, and now you are with the rest of the band in Norway, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, lots of great. Maybe you'll have a theory on this. I've had guys on in death metal bands from Sweden. I've had Tobias on from Vomitory. I've had guys from the death metal the Florida death metal scene on. It's interesting, these different geographical areas, how they just churn out such great metal music. Why Norway?
Well,
And don't chalk it up to the bad weather. I've already heard the bad weather fucking one already.
I'll give and take. Well, it was we moved as refugees from Bosnia. I'm from Bosnia,
Yep.
and we came to Denmark. Then Denmark didn't have any room for us. I don't know why, don't ask, but they sent us to Sweden. And Sweden was accepting refugees, but Sweden wanted to send us back. Oh, that's fucking crazy. They want to send us back to Bosnia. And we were like, what the fuck is this? It's
Yeah.
like me, my mom, and my brother, you want to send a poor woman with two kids, back to a war country. That's crazy. So we packed up, and it was like the nearest country was like Norway,
Yeah.
and Norway accepted us. They accepted us as refugees, and I've been in Norway since 1994. So it's a beautiful country. People are awesome. Um, I ain't gonna talk too much when it comes to politics and shit, because politics is the way it is. But there's a lot of freedom in this country, and there ain't too much crime, and yeah.
When you talk about freedom, and for a long time here in the United States, we weren't very free when it came to this, but we're getting a little lax now. Where does Norway stand on their marijuana laws?
Fucking sucks, brother.
It sucks.
It fucking sucks, man. I mean, the thing is, it's so strict you can't even have it in your fucking blood. You know how it is.
Wow.
You can't even have it in your own in your blood. So I mean, you know how it is with us musicians. We're fucking tokers and smokers.
Sure.
I ain't gonna hide that, motherfucker. Goddamn Jesus fucking Christ. And the thing is, if you think it's okay to drink and you got a problem with weed, then you're a fucking ignorant motherfucker. You don't know jack shit what the fuck you're talking about.
Agreed.
So 420, light that motherfucker. Whatever.
But the people of Norway, but the government of Norway does not seem to think the same way.
Well, the thing is, they it's been going through the system a lot. Should we decriminalize it? Should we not? And stuff like that. It's but I mean, there was this interview with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
he was on tour, and he was in Norway. And I mean, we know he's a fucking smoker,
Sure. No doubt. Yeah.
And he was, of course, he was like caught or something like that. So the second time when he came back to Norway, they stopped him at the airport. I think it was airport or something like that. So he needed to pee in a fucking cup,
Wow. What a waste.
Imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, and for what, really? I mean, it's just so crazy. I would have thought that maybe I didn't know where Norway stood on something like this, because it seems like there are either countries that are very progressive thinking about it, or there's countries that are still living back in the fucking Stone Age that are just, that they want to keep it very criminal. The United States, though, is starting to get, I never thought I'd see the day where you could go into like a convenience store, as you can here, and get THC and CBD oil and stuff like that. It's becoming very accessible here.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
It's definitely a good thing. What can I say? I mean, if it's okay to drink alcohol,
yeah.
I mean, don't fuck with my goddamn brain, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's like stupid fucking law. I mean, well, when we're thinking about prohibition back in the days, 50s in the States.
Yeah. Yep.
Imagine that. You weren't allowed to have a drink. So it's a lot of I'd say it's a lot of politics, a lot of
overstepping boundaries. Yeah, the government is.
So when it comes to that freedom, there ain't a lot of freedom when it comes to that, But I mean, I'm hoping that it will be some changes. The worst thing is getting fucking caught and getting that motherfucker on your sheet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
So there's 4 faces on Mount Rushmore. Okay. So if you had to make up a death metal Mount Rushmore, who are the 4 bands that are up there that are really the crowning achievement of death metal? If you could pick 4 of them.
4 of death metal.
Yeah, the Mount Rushmore of death metal. The biggies.
That's a good fucking question, man. It feels like I'm swearing to church right now if I don't say the right bands, of course. But I mean, number 1, I'd say Cannibal Corpse, of course.
Got to put them there. Yeah.
Definitely big ups to Suffocation. They were also one of my big influences.
Yep.
Death. Come on. Death. I mean, I'd say Death is number 1, then Cannibal Corpse. So I'm a huge fan of Suffocation. And the fourth one. I'm thinking about the old school guys, of course, people who sort of invented death metal and really came up with that thing. The fourth one, man, that is a difficult. I would say D side, but I'm really going for the American bands. There's I mean, you got a lot of that Swedish death metal. You got a lot of the British guys are kicking ass and stuff like that, So, yeah,
I love if I can offer up an opinion, I love Obituary.
Obituary. There we go. Obituary, man. Yeah.
Hard not to put them on there. But then you start to think of other bands that you leave off, like a band like Possessed. I mean, it's back and forth between Possessed and death. Like, who invented the genre? I mean, it's that was a terrible question. I can't narrow it down to 4 either. What the hell was I even thinking, even asking that? That was insane.
Exactly. I mean, what can I say? It was like, I would say a band who invented it, a band who's doing really, really fucking good today, who was the biggest, and a band who sort of revolutionized it, and a band who is like made it to a new, different kind of extreme, like for example, Suffocation. They took it to a different kind of speedier, a bit more technical kind of death metal, and I would say Suffocation is one of those bands who invented like deathcore, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, when you listen back into the, we're talking 90s or stuff like that, I mean,
they're OGs for sure. Yeah, they're definitely OGs. They've been doing it a long time. Time,
brother, definitely. Oh,
and that's a hard. And obviously that's a genre that if you have that kind of longevity, you're really doing it because you love it. Because obviously there's not a huge financial reward, doing extreme metal.
Exactly. I would say the reason why a lot of death metal bands are the way they are, and they always stuck to that genre and didn't give a fuck about money. As soon as you start bringing, what can I say? I wouldn't say fame, but fortune, a lot of dineros and bling shit. Music has tendencies of changing within the band, man. It's yeah. So
when you're out on these big tours or doing these festivals or just in your musical travels, have there been people that you yourself have brushed up against, rubbed elbows with, where you've been a little starstruck?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, brother. I always try to keep it cool,
You got it.
I remember it was Phil Anselmo. I didn't talk to him or something, like he was really busy and stuff like that, so I didn't want to bother him, But he was like he was standing here, and I was like tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, Mr. Anselmo, you kick fucking ass. And I remember just saying a quick hi to Vinnie Paul. It was like seeing, he was crazy. I was like shaking out. And I remember Flo Mounier, brother. We were on tour with Cryptopsy, and I'm a huge Cryptopsy fan.
Yeah, they're great.
We were like on tour in Europe, and every time Flo came into the room, I was like, I stood up, Mr. Moonier, you want my seat? Come on, sit down. It's all good. So I was like, he's been a huge influence to me, So yeah, definitely.
And I would be remiss if I didn't ask, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not a guitar player myself, but, sometimes people want to know all the techie type stuff. Like, are you a particular, are you a player of a specific type of guitar? Do you use a certain kind of like a setup, to achieve the tone that you have? People would like to know that. First of all, what kind of guitars are you into?
Well, I'm a huge fan of ML guitars, 7-string, and I use Seymour Duncan Blackouts as a pickup. So I mean, I need that extra thickener, you know, that heavy shit, and I like big guitars, brother. You know, huge fucking guitars. You know, I can
I've seen
away from them now.
Yeah,
and I've been doing music and playing live shows for a really long fucking time now, and it's all about you learn a lot and experience and stuff like that. So I got my own system now that I use where I'm really satisfied with. It's a Zoom box multi effects processor. So I just plug that motherfucker right in the effect line, and I get the same sound every fucking time, and I'm really satisfied with that.
Yeah.
It's one more thing that you, another thing that you learn. You know, it's when you travel a lot, travel light, so I can bring my effect on the plane. You know, so it never gets lost. You know, so yeah.
Now, this usually winds up being my most polarizing question, which is why I save it for towards the end. And hopefully you have a definitive answer on it. My last couple of guests have done pretty good. But if I'm dropping you, sir, if I'm dropping MEATHOOK on a desert island and he can only take one album with him, what's the desert island album? And now remember, now you're going to die out there with this fucking album.
The great motherfucking Southern Tranquility. Yes, sir.
That's your wow, and very definitively, there was no thinking there at all.
Yeah.
Now, why that album? Now, obviously, Pantera's got a great discography. They've got a lot of great albums. What is it specifically now to back up your choice? What is it about that album? Like, why not Cowboys or Vulgar? Like, why specifically that album?
It is. It's got everything, and I remember the first time I listened to that album, you know, it was a friend of mine who said, "You need to visit me. I bought a new Pantera album. You need to check this out. It's heavy as fuck." We put that motherfucker on, and I was just sitting there. I remember even the way the weather was and what day it was and shit like that. And it was like listening to myself on a mirror, man. It was like listening to my soul. They were playing, singing directly at me, you know.
Right.
So I mean, you got the great Southern Trendkill song. It's so fucking intense and speedy and aggressive, you know, and you got sort of all those death metal pinches here and there.
Yeah.
And then you got that heavy motherfucking, I mean, Drag the Waters is one of my favorite songs.
Amazing.
It's like so fucking heavy. But then again, you got the ballads.
Yeah.
Like Tents and Floods and stuff like that. And yet again, brother, the Southern groove, the bluesy, heavy, chunky shit, you know, that really sings to my fucking soul. I love that, man.
Yeah. And I'm sure that Vinny and Dime are looking down from heaven, smiling that you would love to die on a desert island to their music. I mean, that's you know, that's the utmost respect right there. Like, hey, I'm going to grow old and miserable and disease ridden and fucking die out on this island, man. But it's going to be you that I'm going to do it to.
Hell yeah. No question.
And I guess, and someone did kind of counterpoint me the other day and said, well, if I'm on this desert island, how am I listening to this fucking album? But we did say that we are inventing the first fucking solar powered fucking record player. And that washed up on shore with you as well. So, I mean, you do have something to play it on, because that is a valid question.
Definitely, brother.
I mean, why would you be out on this desert island? I mean, you know, what are you playing this thing on? So a valid point was made by one of my most recent guests. He was very tricky too. He also got me because he took a soundtrack. And usually I tell people, no compilations and no greatest hits albums. That's cheating.
Exactly.
You know, you got to pick you pick the fully realized album. And in closing, I want to make sure that I can secure a cool nickname so the next time we talk. So I'm wondering if you can be the MEATHOOK, if I can be the Scalpel.
Scalpel. There we go.
I work in healthcare, and my day job is as a nurse. So I want it to be something very medical, but something badass. I mean, a meat hook is hard to follow. That's badass.
There we go. Thank you, bro.
Yeah. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do this, though, man. It's been really fun talking to you. And obviously, when I put your episode up, I'll send you the link. Feel free to share it wherever you want. But please stay in touch, and hopefully we can do it again sometime soon, man.
And hopefully we meet one day on the tour, have some whiskey shots, man.
I hope so, man. Yeah, that'd be nice. Well, I'm here in upstate New York. I'm not going anywhere, man. So if you get over to the States, make sure you pencil a date in here.
Fucking A, right, brother. Fucking A.
I appreciate you, brother.
Show, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing it, man. I'm glad we finally got to make it work, man. So thank you so much, brother. It's been great talking to you, man.
You too, brother. Have a good one.
Later, man. You too, buddy. Later.
Hell yeah.
There he goes, folks. That is Ivan Meathook. I don't want to mess up his last name. I'm going to spell it instead. GUJIC. GUJIC. He said it very nicely at the beginning. And shame on me for not paying better attention, man. But you know what? If your nickname is Meathook, you go by that anyway. So dispense of the other formalities. No neat first name, no last name needed. But Ivan GUJIC, we'll call him the Meathook because that is so badass. And what he does is badass. Playing guitar, shredding in epic fucking death metal band called Blood Red Throne from Norway. If you don't know Blood Red Throne, they've been around a while, man. Doing good, quality, old school, brutal fucking death metal the way that we fucking love it. And by me pointing at myself saying we, I'm really talking for my own age demographic, being 50 years old and liking that old school death metal stuff. But I mean, dude, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. That's the classic fucking death metal recipe right there. Blood Red Throne know how to do it the right way. Their last album was 2021's Imperial Congregation, although they did just put out a single, let me get the name right, earlier this year, Latrodectus. That's a mouthful. Killer fucking song though, man. Be looking for new music for them. Go check them out on all the platforms, their website. It'll all be down in the info down here and up on the PodScum Facebook page as well. So definitely go give Blood Red Throne a listen to. You will like what you hear. Rex Ruger approved, aka the Scalpel, because that is my new nickname. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. That was a real blast getting the chance to talk to him. And until we get together and we do this thing again, remember to take it easy and keep it sleazy.